What's going on, guys? It's Greg East Coast Eyes, and today we got some breaking news out of the PLL and the MLL, so I thought I'd break down just the facts, the news for you guys that haven't seen it yet, and then give you a little bit of my opinion, what I think of the news. So first of all, a little backstory, a little history to put some context to the story. 3 years ago, Paul Rabel wanted to revamp pro men's outdoor lacrosse, and so he went to the MLL with this vision, kind of pitched them the idea. I don't know the details, but basically they said no, and so that is when Paul and his brother Mike set out to start a league for the players, by the players, with some new ideologies, called the Premier Lacrosse League, and they played 2 seasons. So fast forward to right now, and you have this announcement that the PLL is acquiring the MLL. So that means the MLL will be wrapped up into the PLL. Now, I don't know any of the details about price or how the deal was structured or any of that, but what we do know is that the PLL is going to take one team from the MLL, the Boston Cannons, rebrand them the Cannons Lacrosse Club to go with the branding of the rest of the league. They will play an 8-team 2021 season, and they will have an expansion draft to fill up that Cannons roster. So that means, again, just like with the Water Dogs, you're going to go through that protected, unprotected roster phase, and then the Cannons are going to get to select from what I assume is the MLL player pool, as well as the unprotecteds in the PLL. Now, that's speculation. They haven't put details out on that yet, so make sure you stay tuned. But basically, an 8-team season for 2021 in the PLL, and that includes the Cannons Lacrosse Club, which I think is really cool. And then you've got the other 5 MLL teams who the PLL now has the rights to, and then they will retain those rights for future expansion teams, which I hope is quick. I mean, the Bayhawks, the Lizards, these are iconic brands that lacrosse has known for a long time. So that is the details of this deal, and everything's in the press release. I'll make sure to put it down in the description. They do a great job with this stuff. They have big media outlets that cover it. It's really the way that news in a professional sport should be done, so kudos to the PLL team on that. Now, a little bit of my thoughts on the deal. We were an MLL sponsor for a couple years, and they took a risk on us when we were a small company. We were a sponsor when we launched our first ever head. We had some great times with that sponsorship, some great athletes, and we, are forever indebted to the MLL for taking a risk on us at that point. And personally, it was easy to jump on the MLL, to be an MLL hater, to tell them how bad of a job they did. The MLL has been around for such a long time. Sure, you can look in retrospect and acknowledge that maybe there's some things they could have done as far as digital adoption, some things they could have done better. But when they started 20 plus years ago, it was a huge risk to start a men's outdoor pro lacrosse league, and it was really, they did it out of passion and love for the game, and hopefully it would grow later, but it just couldn't support. But they started so early. They really did do a better job than people give them credit for. It is not easy to run a pro lacrosse league, and I'm sure that Mike and Paul would both tell you that, even with all the success that they've had with the PLL. So that being said, a lot of fond memories of the MLL. I used to go to Baltimore Bayhawks games at Homewood Field as a kid. It really is the end of an era, and it'll be a different world moving forward. But I think personally what I'm thinking is that the good thing about this is that it was really confusing to have 2 competing outdoor teams. It was kind of like this unspoken rivalry, and I think everybody in the lacrosse community was hoping that one day they would merge. And I think that day came sooner than everyone was expecting, and it was probably accelerated by the pandemic. Who knows, if coronavirus hadn't happened and live sports weren't shut down, how long this dual league feud might have gone on, but the COVID accelerated the situation, and now just 2 years later you're here with a league merging. So one negative that's going to come out of this is, before you had 7 teams in the PLL, 6 teams in the MLL. That's a lot of guys who got to play pro who would not have otherwise, because there were so many teams. And now, with only one roster team coming from the MLL to the PLL, a lot of those guys are not going to get the chance anymore, and that's really unfortunate. And you can't expect the PLL to run a 13-team league. That's just crazy. The expenses are so high. The touring model would have to adjust. So I understand the logistics, but I'm sure a lot of those guys really loved their 2 years of getting a chance to play pro, and there's so many good college players. There's such a deep talent pool that you could support 13 really good teams. So that was a lot of fun. But in the end, I think this is long-term good for pro lacrosse to have one solid vision for outdoor men's pro lacrosse, and no 2 competing teams. It can just put all of our focus into that one league. So kudos to the PLL, Mike and Paul. Kudos to the MLL for making this deal happen. And we're really looking forward to seeing what 2021 looks like. So leave your comments down below. I'll make sure to answer them and keep you guys updated as things progress. And now we're looking forward to second year in a row, another expansion draft. It's really exciting. So thanks for watching, guys. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, and have a great day.